What? What do you mean the camera's too close? No, I'm not gonna back up. No, it's not. Look. Ask Sakura. Ask Sakura. She agrees. See, Sakura, that's not too close, is it? That's not too close. Look at her. Look at her. You can see all the beauty in her face. It's not too close. Come on, man. Come on. Yo guys, what's up? Alex Slicer, another video for you awesome people out there. Hope you enjoyed a little bit of Sakura in the background there. You can probably hear little Azuki drinking her water in her little cage there. I had to put her in a cage because she likes to run around and do crazy stuff. Anyways, I was watching a little bit of UFC, Ultimate Fighting Championship for those who don't know. Big old Uncle Dana's organization. And yeah, I saw a couple of advertisements for the QT, i.e. Quiktrip. It's not all across the country of America, but it's in a lot of different states. And thought I'd talk about my experience working for QT and how I got terminated during my first week working there and the background behind that. So that'll be a lot of fun, right? Yeah. So before we get into it, if you just ignore Azuki drinking her water for a little bit and just go down there, hit that like button, that subscribe button, I'd really appreciate that. Leave a comment at the video at the end, and yeah, let's get right into the video. So a little bit of background about me. Back when I was 17, I had a situation or a medical condition called a pneumothorax, technically a spontaneous pneumothorax. A pneumothorax is whenever you pop a hole in your lung. Typically, it's when trauma happens and you end up popping a hole in your lung, which ends up leaking air into your chest cavity, which is usually negative pressure, which is why when you go, you like let go of your diaphragm, it just automatically sucks back in air. It's a negative pressure. So what I did is I had a spontaneous pneumothorax, which means that I had a little, on my lung, little like BB-sized air pocket called a bleb that eventually popped and leaked air into my chest cavity, meaning that it was painful to breathe on this side. I felt a lot of pain like in my shoulder. Anyways, a little bit of background on me. I'll make a video about that later. Maybe I'll talk about that experience if y'all guys enjoy this video, or like, even if y'all don't, I'm gonna probably make a video about it eventually because it was a crappy experience, and you know, a lot of people that has pneumothoraxes that don't really realize they have them. So the year is 2007. I am a senior in high school at the time, trying to find a nice job to basically carry me through the school year and give me a little bit of pocket change so I could buy some really cool video games and other stupid boy stuff that, you know, people the age of 17 around there would like to have. So my brother actually worked for Quiktrip for a couple years before I got my job there. He actually recommended me to the job. There was like a really nice little recommendation program. If you recommend somebody, you get a nice little fat paycheck. Anyways, so ended up going to the QT building in my area and doing a little math test and interview. The math test was actually really easy. The interview, I aced it. But anyways, as far as the math test goes, when you work at a QT, they typically do not tell you the amount of change to give to the, if memory serves correctly, they don't actually tell you the change to give to the customer. You actually have to do that math in your head on your own. So let's say, for instance, you have a customer that has a transaction of $17.75. So in your head, you have to be $17.75, they give you a $20 bill. Okay, $17.75 from $20. Okay, so that means they get $2 and, you know, 25 cents back. You have to do the math in your head and you have to make sure you do that stuff, and yeah. Anyways, so that's part of the interview process I went through. So anyways, as I said, I went through the whole interview process, the math process, whatever, and basically got hired to go through the whole situation. But the week before I had to start, I had what's called a spontaneous pneumothorax. So as I stated earlier, a pneumothorax is whenever you have a traumatic experience, you know, physical trauma or whatever, that makes your lung pop a hole and leak air into your chest cavity. What a spontaneous pneumothorax is whenever you actually have that happen, but there's no traumatic experience, it just kind of just happens. So for me, what happened was the inside of your lungs, actually, they call them alveoli. It's basically like it goes in and it branches out, kind of like veins, branches out kind of like veins. Well, at the end of them, they're called alveoli, which is actually what exchanges the oxygen from what you breathe to your blood vessels, the iron in the end of the blood cells, whatever, to basically distribute oxygen around your body. Well, those can actually, since they're like little air pockets, they can actually inflate too much if you put pressure on them or if something happens, whatever, and they can create what's called blebs. Little air pockets, a lot of times they end up getting to BB size where they pop. But anyways, apparently I had a bunch of blebs on my lung, these little air pockets I just said, and one of them had popped, and it was kind of painful. I actually felt difficult to breathe, particularly not in general, just on this side because my pneumothorax was on my left side by my heart. When it happened, I thought I was having like a heart attack or there was something wrong with my heart because I was just freaking out. Walking up some stairs, I was like, oh my gosh, this hurts. Mostly the pain was here, and it kind of like got here to like my shoulder, if you can kind of see right there. Very, very scary, especially at the age of 17. I didn't know what to do. I got a doctor's note that said that I had a pneumothorax and not to overexert myself, not to do any heavy lifting, not to do anything crazy, because obviously, as I said earlier, a pneumothorax, when you pop your lungs, so you get a little bit of positive pressure, so it can be difficult to breathe if you overexert yourselves. Also, there's a lot of organs that are not used to being under positive pressure, i.e. pretty much every single one of them in your chest cavity, they're used to having negative pressure. So if you have too much pressure, it can make it almost impossible to breathe, and also make it difficult and painful for your heart to beat, because your heart's going. But anyways, have the doctor's note, go to my first day of training at my QT. The way it works at QT is that you actually get a store that they give you is a training store. You go there, have somebody that trains you, you train there, and once you pass your training, then you go off to your actual store itself. So walk into the QT I'm supposed to go to for training. Me and my trainer is a girl that's a little bit older than me, don't remember her name. Even if I did, I would not say it here. I'm not about doxing people. Anyways, introduce myself. She introduced herself. She basically gives me the rundown of the store, how stuff works for the most part. Takes me to the register, make sure I understand how to do change back, which by the way that QT actually does its cashier stuff is that you actually don't see the amount on screen. You actually have to count back the change. And what I mean by that is that, like I said earlier, we'll say somebody has a transaction of $17.75 and they give you $20. You take that, put that on the register, and you have to count back the change to them. So you might be, okay, so you give me $17.75, here's 25 cents. Okay, so you give them a quarter, 18, then you give them $1, 19, another $1, 20. So you basically count back the change for them. And yeah, went through that, made sure I was competent, made sure I understood how to do it. I was very capable of doing it. And we moved on to the next part where she basically showed me what was called the upkeep. So essentially what the upkeep is the whole store, one person goes and cleans the whole store, basically basic upkeep per se. So you're not gonna deep clean the entire store, you're gonna clean the windows, you're gonna mop the floor, you're gonna clean up any trash that you can. I remember they were making me get rid of trash. I also had to go into the back and grab cups and lids and I had to replace those. Had to make sure that all the soda fountains were actually full at the time. Stuff like that. It was a lot of stuff. You had 25 minutes, if memory serves correctly, to get it done. And I told her, like, hey, I can do this. I'll do it to the best of my ability, but I want you to know, here's my doctor's note. I have what's called pneumothorax. I have a doctor's note that says no heavy lifting, none of this. And I don't remember the amount of time that I was supposed to, like the doctor note said for the date. But I explained to the situation. I said, I have a hole in my lung, can't do super duper strenuous stuff. I'm gonna work as hard as I can. I'm gonna prove I can do this. But be aware that I had a pneumothorax like a week ago, and it's gonna be a little difficult for me to like lift all these heavy, because if you're replacing, for instance, like the big issue for me was like replacing the soda fountains, because like typically you have these big boxes of syrup for the soda. They're freaking heavy, man. They're freaking heavy. Replacing one of them, fine. Replacing two of them, okay. Replacing like 3, 4, 5, 6, make sure all chopped up, dude. That shit got super duper difficult with the pneumothorax. For the most part, it's easy. They're heavy boxes, but they're not so heavy you can't continue to replace them, stuff like that. And I remember telling her this, and she's like, okay, I understand. I was like, okay, cool. So we're gonna get to the next part. The first couple days of the upkeep, obviously the pneumothorax was kind of an issue for me, because not only can I not overexert myself, meaning I can't go crazy and be like super fast, like, off the floor, clean the windows, blah, blah, blah. I have to kind of sort of pace myself, because if I go too hard, and I start working up a breath, it gets painful. It's not like, oh, I can't do this. It's like, no, it's fucking painful. It hurts. For me, it hurt. Like I said, it hurt around here, and it really hurt right here on my shoulder, like where my shoulder meets my neck. Very, very, very painful. So pneumothorax can be very painful and very difficult to work with, especially whenever you need to get hustle going on, and you need to do heavy lifting or some like strenuous activities, because as I said earlier, it gets painful, man. It gets really painful because you're trying to breathe and there's pressure being put on your lungs when there's typically not pressure being put on them. So anyways, start doing the whole upkeep stuff, and things are kind of okay at first. And like I clean the windows, get all the trash outside, start mopping the floors, and then I gotta like make sure all the cups and like, the cups, the lids, the straws, the whole soda fountain is like, good to go. And like the big issue I ran into at first, this is the first issue I ran into, not like the cleaning of the windows, the floors, and grabbing the trash. So when I got to the back room, it was just super unorganized, completely unorganized. And by organized, I mean like, so typically you think like, okay, small cups, medium cups, large cups, you know, extra large cups, lids, you know, small, medium, large, extra large. Sorry, I'm doing boom, 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 like same thing. It was not like that. It was just like, you might have small cups, large lids, medium cups, medium lids. You know, it's just all over the place. There was no organization whatsoever. And it was an issue for me because I had to get this done in 25 minutes. I'm trying to basically rush myself because, you know, I told her I had pneumothorax. She's like, ah, it's fine, you know, just get it done as fast as you can, whatever. So go through the thing and I get it done like, I think like 35 minutes. Go tell her, hey, I'm done. Can you check stuff out? Cool. She's like, oh yeah, sure, yeah. Goes checks it. She's like, okay, yeah, it looks okay. There's some issues, blah, blah, this and that. No, why did it take you 35 minutes to get it done? To which I'm like, I told you, like, first of all, I said, hey, this stuff's not in order. Like, we need to order this stuff and get this in order so it's easier to find stuff. But also the second part that I told you, which is actually the first thing I told you, is that I have pneumothorax. I'm trying to get it done as fast as I can, but I literally have doctor's note. You can call my doctor right now. We can call my doctor. We can talk to my doctor, and he can tell you that I have a pneumothorax. If I am having a hard time doing something, that's a big issue. And it's just, I also remember I was kind of scared about telling her initially I had pneumothorax because I was afraid that if I said that, that'd be used to get me fired because in the state of Texas, where I live, you go through a probationary period where they can fire you for any reason whatsoever, and they do not have to give you a reason during the probationary period. So you just come into work and they'd be like, hey, you know, we need to get rid of somebody. Oh, this guy's in probationary, gone. They don't have to tell you why, just, hey, you're terminated. Boom, gone, bye-bye. So it took me 35 minutes to get the initial first day thing done, whatever. You know, she was very critical of the fact it took me more than 25 minutes to get it done, to which I said, hey, I can't find stuff because obviously, as I said, stuff's not in order, and also I have a fucking thorax. There's air in my chest cavity. It fucking hurts to lift these heavy freaking syrup things. It's fucking painful to fucking overexert myself across the place. I didn't bring this up to you because it's like, you know, I don't want to work. It's like, I'll bring this up to you because when it hurts, man, it fucking hurts. I mean, like, it hurts to the point of like, oh, I can just work through this. Like, no. It gets to the point that's like painful and you're like, oh, I can't fucking breathe, man. I can't fucking breathe. It's like that kind of stuff. So anyways, a couple days go by. I can't hit the 25-minute mark, but I'm getting better each day, And she's kind of giving me crap for stuff. And I remember one thing that happened was that I actually asked another worker there. Well, actually, I'm going to tell you two things. I actually asked another worker there to help me pull a box off of the top shelf. And I remember that my trainer found out about this, and she pulled me aside after I finished my whole little upkeep stuff and said, when you need help, don't ask anybody else for help. Come talk to me. And it's just like, every time that I do this, you give me shit for like not getting it done in 25 minutes. If I actually have a medical condition that is actually hindering my ability to get it done as fast and as effectively as you want me to. I mean, I'm cleaning up just fine. I'm getting stuff replaced just fine. It's just taking me a little bit extra time because I have to fucking replace a soda fucking fountain, fucking syrup and shit like that. I have to climb up on this freaking step stool. Sorry, I don't mean to cuss so much. But to climb up on the step stool just to get boxes down, which is me doing this and like putting these boxes down. That's a lot of work for having a pneumothorax. And I thought I did a pretty damn good job because actually by the last day, I did actually finish within like 22, 23 minutes. Like it was like a couple of minutes before I was supposed to be done. I finished, but we'll get back to that in just a second. Anyways, so the first thing happened was, like I said earlier, I asked somebody for help pulling down a couple boxes because I was like, dude, I can't do this. It hurts me so much. And like the person I asked knew that I had pneumothorax. I told them about the situation. Like, yeah, sure, man. Yeah, sure. Had me pull down the boxes, all this other stuff. And then, you know, my trainer came up to me and was like, hey, don't ask anybody else for help. No. It's like, no, don't do that. You need to talk to me. At the point, it was just like, also on top of that, it's like, she was new to the store, so she didn't know where anything was fucking either. And also, she wasn't doing upkeep. She wasn't doing upkeep. Upkeep is one of those weird things where they made people do it in training. And sure, people would do certain stuff. The manager would be like, hey, walk the floor, do this, that. And we'll get to that point in just a second. Anyways, I can't ask other people for help like in my training period. I get that if you want me to, if I have an issue or a question about training and I want to come to you and ask you, sure, you're my trainer, I'll come to you. But if you're busy doing something and I need help getting a box down, I can't ask somebody else for help getting a box down because of a medical condition I'm going through. And by the way, I had to get surgery from a pneumothorax. I had to get surgery to fix this shit. So anyways, the second thing that happened was I remember I was doing my upkeep and I was talking to another girl that worked there, not my trainer, another girl, which is what I was talking about a second ago, is I said, hey, I'm doing my upkeep. They're like, what's upkeep? I'm like, what's upkeep? Like, you have to clean your windows, do all this stuff. She's like, I don't have to, like, we don't have to do that. Like, no. Like, you know, we just take a task, we do it. And, you know, to my head, I'm like, that makes more sense. Like, you know, sure. Make sure that I know how to do everything. Whatever. Yeah. So anyways, I was just like, wow, I'm doing this stuff. I'm basically busting my ass to do this upkeep thing. And I'm in a store where they're not even like making people do upkeep, like is one person. Everybody takes a little bit of a task, you know. One person is like, hey, the manager will be like, hey, go mop the floor. And hey, Sue, go clean the windows. Hey, you know, hey, Bill, can you go back there and just replace the, you know, the cups and like replace, you know, the soda fountains, whatever? Perfect, makes sense. So that's the second thing. First thing, like I just said, was that my trainer got mad at me because I asked somebody else a question and asked them for help with pulling down boxes because of my pneumothorax. The second one, like I just said, was I literally just was doing stuff and it was just like, I was doing something and people were telling me that, hey, you know, we don't, like, why upkeep? What the fuck is that? You know, we don't do that. No, we all just take a little bit like a task and we get it done. It's way more efficient. I was like, makes sense. So let's fast forward to my last day working at Quiktrip. My last day working at Quiktrip, everything went for the most part fine, other than the fact it's my last day. But went through the whole upkeep situation, you know, mopped the floors, cleaned the windows, took out the trash, replaced all the freaking soda fountains, replaced all the cups, cup lids, stuff like that. Did everything I was supposed to do, finished with like 5-6 minutes to spare. I went and talked to the trainer I had and told her, hey, I'm done. And we had a random influx of customers, literally like right around that time. So we had to handle the customers. So we finished the customers, we go and we start going through the situation. She kind of critiques it. The whole critique is like, wow, okay, good job, this is a good job, this is a good job. And then she like looks at her watch at the end, is like, okay, why did it take you 40 minutes to do this? Which at that point, I'm just kind of like, it didn't take me 40 minutes. I finished in 20 minutes. I told you I'm done. And, you know, we had a random influx of customers. She's like, okay, well, you have these couple of issues. Like, why is it 40 minutes later? Like, they're not like fixed. It's like, I literally finished in 20 minutes. Went, got you, told you this stuff. We had a flux of customers. We handled them, and then we checked it, you know? In my head, it's like, I'm doing better. You know, I have a medical condition going on right now. Not like a long life-term medical condition, but it's just a medical condition. Like, I popped a hole in my fucking lung. It's hard for me to do hard lifting and go move super duper fast and all this stuff because it gets painful. Like I said, it got painful. It's particularly here, like I said earlier. Anyways, she was saying that it took me 40 minutes to get the shit done and only literally took me 20. And I even talked to other workers there. Like, they were like, what the hell's going on, man? I was like, I don't know, man. Like, I guess she's saying it took me 40 minutes to do this stuff. And the other people are like, no, you literally started like 20 minutes ago and it took you like 20 minutes to do this shit. And I was like, yeah, I know. But anyways, a guy from corporate QT came in and he was going over basically what my trainer was saying about me. And needless to say, she was saying that I was a good worker, but I just was not fast enough. It was not fast enough. And this is partially on me because at the time I was 17, man. I'm not a very confrontational person. I don't like confronting people about stuff a lot of times. I mean, I'm way more confrontational than I used to be. I'm going to confront a motherfucker if they try to bring some bullshit up. But back in those days, I literally would just be like, what the fuck? Like, it just, for some reason in my brain, it was just like, is somebody, how to put this? I was just not confrontational. And this is partially my fault. But they basically said, they say you do the job well, but you're not fast enough, so we're gonna have to let you go. And, you know, I'm 17. I like really thought this would be a good job. I was really wanting this job. And it's just like, it just felt like my whole world just collapsed around me. I'm like, okay. And I had to go leave and go clock out and like leave the building. And I remember just like the people were like, hey man, blah, blah, blah. Like, they talk to me. I'm like, hey, I got to go. And like, what do you mean you got to go? I was like, I just got let go. And like, what, you got let go? I was like, yeah, I got to leave. And I left. And I really wish that whenever that person was there, I fucking spoke up. You know, I wish that I went back to QT and told them about my pneumothorax situation. But it's just, you got to make mistakes like that, man. And you got to grow from them. You got to like learn your mistakes. If you ever feel like you're being wronged in a job, I mean, speak up. I know I talked about the VA, you know, like 6-7 months ago and like how I got let go from there. I had the opportunity to actually contact the VA to like possibly get my job back, you know, on the paper they gave me when they terminated me. I had the opportunity to like, I guess, call them and contact them and get my job back. Possibly, not like get my job back, guaranteed, just to contest the whole termination thing. And it's just like, man, like, sometimes you can have a shitty boss. You can have a shitty boss, a person that's just not a good fucking leader. And a lot of times those are people that want leadership positions. A lot of times people want leadership positions that are not good leaders. I think it was Aristotle that said that, you know, sometimes the best person to lead is the person that wants it the least. Not saying if you don't want to lead, you'll be a good leader. No, it's like a person, there's a lot of times that there's actually a person that's going to be, has all the traits of a good leader that does not want to lead. And that's the thing that makes them a good leader. They have all the traits to be a good leader, but they don't want it, which means they're less likely to abuse the power. But anyways, if you ever feel like you're being wronged by your boss or your work or whatever and stuff like that, I mean, speak up, man. Don't be disrespectful. Don't like cause a scene. Don't threaten people and stuff like that. But just, like I said, I was 17 at the time. I kind of like let the situation slide, and I was so like thrown off by the fact that I was let go. Especially thinking I had a good reason at the time. I mean, there's other stuff that's going on. Fine, talk to me about the other stuff. It was just like they said, I just was not fast enough for them. It's just, I really wish that I brought it up to the guy at the time, or even called QT afterwards and told them and sent to my doctor's note personally saying this stuff. And yes, I do get it. You're probably gonna go in the comments to say, it's your own damn fault. You should have said something. Well, I said something to my trainer, and I guess the gist of this, I want to talk about the experience I had at QT and my experience being trained, but also want to talk about how sometimes you just have a shitty trainer. Sometimes people are there to train you and teach you how to do your job, but maybe they're not good at the job. Maybe they just are kiss asses and they get what they fucking want and they end up making it to a certain level, you know? If you ever feel like being wrong, man, speak up. I hope I do that in the future. I plan on hopefully doing it in the future, but man, yeah, anyways, I don't want to make this channel a whole like negative, like, hey, I got fired from a job or like let go. I've only been let go from 2 jobs, QT and the VA, and both those feel like bullshit. I feel like I wasn't communicated with properly at the VA, and the second one is, like I said, the whole QT is that I talked to my trainer, and I was 17, I was young, dumb, and full of stupidity, we'll say that. And I didn't really chase it, man. But anyways, yeah, if you guys like the video, if you've had a similar experience at a job, man, go down there, put a comment. I want to talk to y'all guys. You know, I want to know about like how stupid or crazy I am, or like how your experience went, like what you did or what you did to make yourself feel better about this stuff. I don't sit up losing sleep at night about the whole QT thing. I do a little bit about the VA thing, but the QT thing happened like 15, 16 years ago. It's like 15 years ago, I believe. 14 years ago. 14 years ago. Yeah, I don't lose sleep over that, but I just randomly was like watching UFC and I was like, I saw QT and I was like, oh, okay, that kind of reminds me of that time. Anyways, if you guys liked the video, go down there, comment, tell me about a time you've been let go from a job that you feel is unjust or basically bullshit, or how you've had shitty bosses or shitty trainers. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Later.